All right, welcome back. It is day 7, and I thought that today would be a really good day to go over the things that I'm doing to change my life for the better. And I have, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 things that I want to talk about. So these are things that I've implemented over the course of the last week. I'm on now day 7 of, let's say, the shift. This is kind of like a transformation to make a better life for myself. And then at the end, I'll talk about something like a milestone of something that I've been working on over the course of the last week. So we'll be able to talk about that for a second. All right. So without any further ado, schedule. That was the very first thing that I changed. And so my normal schedule used to be go to sleep anywhere between 2 and 4. So it gravitated somewhere around 3-ish. And wake up at 8. So as long as I woke up at 8, that was cool. I felt like if I woke up at 8, all right, that's still early enough, kind of get my day going. And the way that worked is I rolled out of bed, I fed the puppy, I made coffee, and I sat down in the chair and started working. And that was all of 60 seconds. So roll out of bed and I'm working. And that's how my days have always been. I have now since changed that. And now I go to sleep around 12 and I get up at 5. And that alone, it's crazy because it doesn't give you a longer day by any stretch of the human imagination, but it sort of feels like you get more accomplished in that morning, and we'll talk about some of those things that I do to sort of get me in that mode. All right, so number 1 was change my schedule. Number 2, journaling. I've long read or heard or watched videos or whatever how journaling is a great creative thing that you could do. It's an awesome thing that you could just unwind the brain and sort of get things moving up there, so they help you out during the course of the day. And, this is something I've tried over the course of the years and never really stuck to it. Maybe that's because it wasn't part of a much bigger plan. So maybe I do it at 1 in the afternoon, or then I do it at 9 o'clock at night, or I do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. So there was no regimen to it. Now it's part of my morning routine. So I wake up at 5 and I stretch. We'll talk about that in just a second. And anyway, journaling is part of it now. In the journal, I write things that I'm grateful for. I do, like a set of affirmations, I am this, I am that, those types of things. And then I kind of write, what my day was like yesterday and what I want my day to be like today. Sort of like set in motion these little mini victories that I could plan out for myself. All right, number 3 is exercise. Just briefly mentioned that before. But this comes with like a huge asterisk because, listen, the last time I exercised, I was in high school. So do the math. I'm 45. Not exactly something I enjoy doing. Most of my jobs in the first, 30 years of my life, so, from age, 12 to 40 or so, they were mostly labor-intensive jobs. I mean, by and large, there were some that were way more slack. But, I was always moving. So I never really felt the need to have to stretch or exercise, do any of that weird stuff. And, it's one of those things that it's recommended to do. It kind of gets the heart pumping. It gets your body moving. It's supposed to give you more energy, although I've yet to sort of see the benefits of that. So that remains to be determined. But that's what I do. So I wake up and I stretch. And it's the first thing that I do. And I just kind of work out, my back, my arms, my legs, the whole bit, and just try to get some stretch. So even a moderate, slight stretch is more than no stretch. I figured, let me start small and see if I grow from there. So I allow more time if it does grow in the future. But as of right now, it's just very moderate, very small, very light. It only takes me about 10 or so minutes. I do push-ups. And that's where I'm at, right? So exercise. Especially if it's something that you've never done or you don't ever do, it could be one of those incremental changes that does help, provided you have some other changes that you're throwing into the mix as well. All right, number 4, YouTube. You're here. You're the witness. I started the YouTube channel day 1 of the shift, and the whole idea was I'm going to keep myself accountable of what I'm doing. It's one thing to tell myself something, and then if I don't do it, I slack. It's whatever. I only burn myself. It's no big deal. Nobody knows. But if I publish it out to the world, whether there's one viewer or there's a million viewers, I'm still saying it. I'm saying I'm going to do it, and so therefore I need to do it. And that's how I can keep myself accountable. Eventually, this channel will, migrate into the full journey of whatever it is I end up doing, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that helps to change my life. Dive in 2 feet first, going all in, the whole bit. That is coming very close. And when that does happen, I'm excited to share what that looks like. And hopefully this is proof, this is evidence, this is a blueprint, this is something that somebody down the road can follow and try for themselves. If it worked for me, maybe there's a chance it works for you. All right, number 5, focused learning. I make sure I learn something every day. Now, that can change for everybody. I'm a little bit more intense about it. Currently, in the laid off scenario, so there's a lot of time, and I'm using that time. I'm talking 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I am ingesting and digesting information. And it's information that I wanted to know for a while, but now I'm making a conscious and very specific, whatever the word is, intention to do it. So I am making sure, now I gave myself 1 hour, a minimum of 1 hour to sit down and learn something. Don't screw off and do some other weird stuff, or don't get distracted by your phone, or don't answer messages or send out emails or any of that other stuff. Like, set your intention to do something and do it. And so for me, that was at least 1 hour a day of learning. So that's number 5. The 6th thing I did, and again, you can trace this back to all sorts of different self-help guides and coaches and life coaches and those types of things, but meditation. And, maybe those dudes, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, maybe they were onto something. Meditation is really weird. I'm going to give it a shot. You know what I mean? The brain is ridiculously intense. It's so intense we don't even understand it. And, humanity has been pushing technology and breakthroughs in all sorts of medical fields. And yet they just don't get it, right? They just don't get it. Not all of it. So when you can shut everything out, just shut the entire world out and let your thoughts just kind of populate, or let your inner whatever do whatever it is it's going to do, things can get a little wild. So I'm down with it. I needed to figure out the first few sessions, not so great. And it's not easy. So I do appreciate the challenge. If it was just sitting there and doing nothing, I don't think you'd get any benefit out of it. So it's really, it really is like trying to stay still, and, you try to envision all sorts of things. Now, I'm one of that, whatever it is, 2% or 10%, whatever, of people that when you close your eyes, you just see nothing. It's just darkness. Other people, most people, from what I've read, can see stuff, which is really freaking cool. So good on you if you can close your eyes and envision something and see it, because that to me that's miracle sauce, and I can't do it. And I wish I could. And I've tried to train. This goes back a few years ago. I tried to train myself to be able to do it. There were some methods to try to make it work, and I've seen one thing over the course of all my years. I've seen one, and it was a piece of paper, of all things. It was just it was just like a. And it was crazy because it was so vivid, but it was just like a blank white piece of paper that curled up at the top. I don't know if there's any significance to it or not. I assume maybe, but I haven't figured out what it is. Anyway, make a long story short, meditation is way more than just sitting there and doing nothing. It's not a lazy thing. It's actually very difficult. And so those are the 6 things. Schedule, change the schedule, journaling. Now I journal every morning. Exercise. I exercise and stretch every morning. Again, do it to your own capacity. Mine is super simple, super light, super quick, but it's something. And something, as we all know, is more than nothing. YouTube, started the channel. That might not be your thing. Maybe, write, like on Medium or something. Or maybe do just like a podcast, just talk, and you don't even have to publish it. But again, my specific reason for doing YouTube was to track the journey and hold myself accountable. Focused learning was number 6. Set your intention. I will learn something today, whatever that may be. We'll talk about that in just one second. And then meditation is the final thing. So those 6 things I've done over the course of the last 7 days. And you will notice, I think it was day 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it was, I totally failed. Totally failed at waking up on time. Didn't go to sleep on time. Last weekend was like murder, no dice, but it was a learning lesson. I learned what not to do. So I won't do it this weekend, so that I'll make sure that I'm in bed at a reasonable time and I wake up at a reasonable time and keep with my morning ritual. They say 21 days to form a habit. I believe that's been debunked. But it doesn't matter. Like you will know when it's a habit when you're no longer fighting to do it. It's as simple as that. Whether it takes me 2 weeks or it takes me 2 years, I will know it's now a habit when it's by default. That's my default setting, my subconscious. That's it. I'm no longer all over the place. I'm no longer just a total train wreck. I'm no longer just sleep whenever the hell I want, wake up whenever the hell. Like more regimented, more keeping myself in line with what I want to do, and more creating some type of morning ritual that's repeatable, that is not like a crash diet where it's so impossible to maintain that and sustain that diet forever that you end up dropping off on it. More of just incremental little changes, tiny shifts, things that I could do to add into the greater whole. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, because we are day 7 and something really cool happened today. Today, as if you've been following the channel, which, look, I don't blame you if you don't. The first couple of videos are pretty horrific, and that's fine. If you're following the channel, I've been diving pretty deep into AI, all the things that it can do, the benefits, the drawbacks, pros, cons, what kind of business models are out there, those types of things. And AI agents is what I kind of fell into. That's the groove that I'm really focused on. And today, it was a goal the other day, but life happens. Today I made my first AI agent. I built my first AI agent, and 100% of the credit goes to Liam Ottley. He's got a fantastic channel with tons of information. He's been down a crazy road that got him to where he is today, and he has a hub for young entrepreneurs and people that want to get involved in that thing, where they can go and learn and discuss and talk. So anyway, he put together this video, and it was like 4 hours long, and he did 4 tutorials. But I mean, like straight up verbatim, you could sit there and do it. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in a separate video, because there were some quirks, little things that happened here or there that I feel may happen to you that weren't necessarily addressed in the original videos. And it's just because we're not all on the same playing field. I had, my card was declined. I needed an API, whatever. Anyway, make a long story short, we'll have a whole nother video just talking about that. But dude, it was a huge victory. It was really cool to press the button and things happened. And it pushes your brain to think, what else can this thing do? What are the capabilities that this thing has? What are the actual limits? How far can you push this thing before it breaks? And those are the things I'm excited about. So anyway, I wanted to share that with anybody that's been following along for the 1 or maybe 2 people. And that's fine. Anyway, I'm following along because it's my freaking life. So that's it for today. Maybe I'll do another video tonight and go more in depth about the tutorial, or maybe we'll save that for tomorrow. We'll see what happens. In any event, have a great day. I'll see you next time.